Hi, thanks for joining me on my relationship training webinar. My name is Isa Teese, and let me start off with right away that if you have any questions, put them in the chat box and include your contact information, because if I don't get to all of the questions, then I will contact you personally, because I want you to walk away from our time together really feeling fulfilled, really feeling like you have answers to the things that brought you here. Now, I've been a relationship coach for over 30 years. I've been working with people on a one-to-one in groups, big groups, individuals, couples, for a very long time. And it started for me when I was in medicine, because I was dealing with relationships a lot, because people are very affected by what goes on in their family dynamics, in their body, and all of these things led me to become very interested in and a great observer about the kinds of things that occurred. Now, what happened for me is I started seeing that when one thing happened, another thing happened. And I became very intrigued, and I started recognizing that every relationship interacts with another relationship, and especially on a personal level. So I made it my mission to really help people understand how relationships are a core reason that we are happy, sad, mad, or glad. Not just our personal relationships, but they are really, really key. Have you ever noticed that you can be having difficulty with a relationship kind of like at arm's length, somebody you don't care that much about or not that close to, but bring it home, baby, and you got some things going on. Your husband or your wife says something that hurts your feeling, it can mess up your entire day. I've been there. I know what I'm speaking about, and I'm going to be really transparent with you today. I've been through a lot of relationships, and I'm going to share a lot of my experiences, because that's where I've learned the most. The second thing that I've learned from is all of the people that I have worked with, literally those couples and those individuals and businesses and virtually everyone, because they taught me so much. I felt like I was the student. Sometimes I think, oh, I'm being paid to really learn all this incredible information. And of course, I've had years and years of study. So I have a lot going on that I can share with you. A lot of wisdom that's going to make a difference for you. And you're going to walk away today really feeling empowered, so much more knowledgeable. And you're going to have the experience of knowing, this is what I need to do, or this is what I need to learn more about. Because in all of the years that I've been doing this, I have learned what works. I know what makes relationships very successful, happy, joyful. And I also know what it takes to completely destroy relationships. And that means that you may think you have something really awesome, and all of a sudden it goes away. In fact, I had a client once that came to me, and she really thought everything was like so awesome in her relationship. And when she came home from work one day, her husband had literally packed up and was gone. I mean, that is how the lack of communication, the lack of awareness, the lack of understanding about ourselves and others really can cause us such big shocks. So today I'm going to go through many things that are going to help you better understand what it is that it takes to have the relationships that you've always desired. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why are you here? What brought you to be here with me today? And I'm just going to share with you a few things that perhaps you can look at internally as I'm speaking, because our relationship together today is going to get close. I'm going to speak to you like we were in the same room together. I'm going to ask you to look inside, and I will be transparent. And I'm asking you to be transparent with yourself. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to write your life story in the chat box. But I do want you to look inside so you can gather as much wisdom, as much experience, as much knowledge and insight as you possibly can from our time together. So some of the things that people would say to me very commonly is, my relationship just isn't working. I don't know whether to go. I don't know whether to stay. I'm just not happy. They may not have a clue why. Is that applicable to you? Is any part of that applicable? Or what about this one? My life is just a very big mess. My finances aren't working, my relationship isn't working, I don't feel good, my kids are on drugs. I mean, literally, I just don't feel like I can even go on because there's no relationship in my life that's working. And I don't have anybody to support me as I'm going through all of this. Are any of those areas applicable for you? Now, perhaps you're in a relationship, but it's just kind of like blah, blah. It's just not fulfilling. You feel taken for granted? Do you feel like you had that spark and that excitement at the beginning and maybe for a reasonable amount of time, but then over time, it just kind of started to get really boring, really slow. Nothing radical's going on, but there's no spice. There's no aliveness. How do you recreate and reignite a relationship when it's just okay, but not very inspiring? These are things that we're going to speak about today, and that's what this work is about. It's about helping you know exactly what it is that it's going to take for you to find answers to your own personal things, your own personal issues, if you will, your own personal desires. Here's what I know about relationships. They're multifaceted. There's many different aspects to relationships. And what that means is that this part might be working really well, but then this one isn't. I kind of look at it like a diamond that has many different facets, places that you can look in. And if you look in the side of the diamond, you'll see this. And if you look in another, you see a little bit different angle. But what does that mean? It means that relationships are going to be greatly related to your perception about them. There's going to be about you being able to see things from not just one narrow little place, but rather from this one and this one and this one and this one and this one. So you want to become a very profound observer. Not somebody who is sitting there judging this facet, but perhaps looking at it from this angle where you can see the rainbow in there a little bit differently. That's one of the things that I really love to help people understand and know more. And because of that, what I find is that the self-introspection is really powerful. And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. So, have you taken a moment now as the things that I've been speaking about, and have you asked yourself or answered those questions, which one of these things, or is it another? And if it's something else, feel free to put it in the chat box, because that's a good place for you to get it out and see clearly, and it'll help us know how I can support you the most. So if you are clear that relationships can make or break your good humor, and even your business success, or even your child rearing experience and everything else, then stay tuned, because we're going to get more deeply into this than ever before. As I said a little earlier, I've had a lot of experience with relationships, and I said also that I was going to be transparent. But let me tell you that through the several longer-term relationships that I've been in, my experience of learning has been very painful. It's been really uncomfortable. My heart has ached, it's hurt, it's broken down. Now, I'm delighted to say I'm going to give you the end of the story, but then I'm going to share with you how I got to here. And that is that I'm now in a really awesome relationship. Raphael and I have been together 15 or so years, and I finally feel like I got it. Does it mean that we don't have discussions? Does it mean that we don't have differences? Oh, baby, let me tell you, we do. But we have learned how to communicate and be with those things and work through them. So instead of being on different pages, we're really aligned to one common goal, and that is the love. So as I was saying, the relationships that I've had before, first of all, I started off with relationships that I was just really desiring to have somebody to fix me, to make it all better. Of course, didn't know this at the time, but I was out there kind of searching for, the guy that was that looked like a one of those guys, the Chippendale people, and had a gazillion dollars, was really athletic, and was a really kind of, that kind of guy. And what I found is that I found guys like that, but oh my gosh, they were not fulfilling anything in my heart. So I went through a lot of stuff around that, because I found that their ego many times was as messed up as mine. So that means that I had to take and glean from that relationship what it was that I needed to learn. And you know what I learned? I learned that it wasn't about the outer appearance. I learned it wasn't about just the way someone looks. I started learning that it was what was in here, what was in their heart, and what other things that I needed. Well, the next relationship, this is the one where really loving person, really, really kind, just a really great person. But this person had no clue about his feelings. He didn't know how to communicate. He just would say yes all the time. He was just really okay with whatever went on, so there was no backbone, there was no opinion, there was like nothing going on. And that then became challenging for me, because I just felt like I was there alone in the relationship. When you have no communication, when you have no connection at a heart level, well then you don't really feel all that gotten. And so I had let go of all of the external stuff that I thought was so critical. I mean, granted, I wasn't looking for a schlocky-looking guy, but I also was not looking for somebody that didn't know how they felt and didn't know how to communicate it, even if they did know how to feel it. So this was a challenge for me, because you've probably gathered by now, I'm a little chatty. And I love to communicate. And if you're a woman, listen to this, I'll bet you are very similar. You love to chat. That's the way women work. Women work by expressing. And at the end of the conversation, the guy may be going, what the heck? It's like, and she's going, thanks so much. I really appreciate you getting that all clear for me. And, the guy's over there going, what? They never even said anything. But you know what causes a lot of problems with that? Is the guy thinks he has to fix it, so he usually will chime in and try to give her all these answers about what to do, and she's going, no, that's not what I want. I just need to chat, because chatting, speaking, helps a woman feel better. So that became a real observation for me. And I learned that I needed to be clear with my partner about what I wanted. And we're going to talk about communication a little bit now. I'll share more about that. So there was another thing that I learned, and it was difficult, because when somebody's kind and loving but they're just not home, then meaning that they weren't present and you didn't feel like you could communicate with them because they were not really telling you anything about how they felt or what they, no feedback, it became a very lonely experience. So, okay, check off another one. So then I'm with another person, and he was very business oriented, very successful, great body, all of these things that I didn't think I was looking for anymore, but they just kind of came together. And this person was taught me a lot. This person taught me a whole lot, because this person had a sense of the feelings, but you know what? This person had a true state of insecurity, and you know what that meant? It meant that he was always looking. You know what I'm speaking about here? You guys probably know. I'm sure you women know what I'm speaking about. That means that you may be in a restaurant, but he's over here looking at so-and-so behind you, or watching that one in the short skirt go by, and you're sitting there sharing or speaking, and it's like, boom, not present. Guys, that doesn't make a woman feel like really awesome. And girls, we keep recreating those things until we learn the secrets that I'm going to share and that I am sharing. So we have to be responsible for things. And through that time and several affairs later, I learned a lot. I learned to become more distinctively clear about people's personalities and what it was that I was looking for. But you know, with each one of these things, I learned that I had everything to do with what was happening. It's not like the guys were a mess. No, I didn't know what I didn't know. That's why I am in such a mission and have such a passion to share the kinds of things that I do, because we can't change what we don't know. So if we don't know what we don't know, then how are we going to change what we need to know into making a difference in our lives? So you're now in a higher level of awareness right now. The last however many minutes we've been together already, hopefully, boom, has enlightened you a bit, because you get to see that you personally get to look inside like I'm looking inside and like I've had to look inside to learn and become educated about myself, my own nature, my own way of being, the kinds of people that I keep pulling and attracting to myself, because that's where the key is. It's in here. It's in here. And that is one of the key things, because relationships can be the gateway to your freedom. What does that mean? It's not just that you find joy and you find happiness and you might have great sex and you have all these other things. I'm speaking about something even deeper than that. I'm speaking about freedom. Freedom means that you absolutely are untethered. It means that you are comfortable in your own skin. It means that you are courageous and clear and connected enough to yourself that you speak the truth. You don't hide away. You don't pretend about things that you might be pretending about now. I cannot tell you how many things that I just shoved down inside of myself because I was too afraid. And these are the things that we learn together as we go through life. And if you stay awake about that, then you're going to learn that freedom is available for you. Freedom is available to you through relationship, because when you start seeing the relationship as a message center for you, you get to wake up. You get to wake up to recognizing that the relationship is showing you parts of yourself that perhaps you've never thought about. And it's called mirroring, and we're going to talk about mirroring in a little bit. So if relationships are the key to your joy, to your happiness, to actually making your business work, more financial success, I want you to also remember it's your key to freedom. And that is a number one important piece for you to be in touch with, because relationships are very all-encompassing. And that's the most exciting information I could probably give you today, is that they are going to be your avenue to self-discovery and to true joy. So let's be sure we're on the same page. We now realize that a relationship cannot make you happy, because if your relationship issues or things in your life are going on, or because you're pulling that towards you or attracting it to you because you've got some of your own things going on, then you realize that the work is going to be done internally, from the inside out, actually is the term that I use. So if we have that understanding, then we have to look at, well, how do we know what we have going on inside of us? Remember I talked a moment ago about this mirroring thing? Now this is a little bit philosophical, but I want you to really think about this and just stay open to the possibility of the accuracy of what it is that I'm about to say. Mirroring means that when you have someone in your life that is repeatedly, or more than one person, that is repeatedly showing you some characteristic that you don't like, that you become triggered by, that it's because they're showing you a piece of yourself that you are not totally comfortable with. Now, I know for some of you this might be a little bit of a stretch, so I'm just asking you to stay open to the possibilities, because the work that I do and the retreats that I hold and the things that I will share with you are beyond the surface. It's not just we're going to fix these outer things, because you can't fix the outer things. We're going to go deeper. So we're talking about a true internal shift here. So the mirroring principle means that when you have these things occurring and you notice, for example, I was speaking to someone this morning who said, I'm so angry because everybody seems to lie to me. I mean, for crying out loud, I had this person work with me and they didn't tell the truth, and I had this person work with me and they didn't tell the truth, and I was in business with that other person. And it's like, these people, doesn't anybody have impeccability anymore? Doesn't anybody like really have any cognizance about really being authentic or truthful or whatever? And I had to have a real heart-to-heart with this person. And I had to remind them that there was one common denominator. It's like all of these 5 different people that this person was speaking about was really having the one thing in common was that person. That one person kept having the same thing occur. So what does that mean? It means that there's something there that is trying to have you hear that there's a piece inside of yourself that you perhaps have not gotten okay with, or perhaps not even recognized. And so we had this conversation about, think back when you were a child. Did you ever lie? Think back in any of your relationships. Did you ever lie? Did you ever cheat? Are you shameful? Do you have guilt? Any of these things where you don't want to really expose yourself and tell the truth? From a little child. Mother will come in the room and there's a broken glass on the floor, and what's going to happen? There's the 2 kids. He did it. She did it. Yeah. Immediately, we shove the blame somewhere else. 0 responsibility 99% of the time, because we are afraid of punishment. So what do? We lie. Because we feel badly that we don't have the answer that that person is looking for. So we learn from a very early age what it is that happens, that we take on as a truth, and then we exacerbate that over our lifetime. So when I was speaking with this person this morning, I actually shared something that I'll share with you because I promised you transparency. I feel like I taught my daughter how to lie. I didn't mean to. I didn't know that's what I was doing. But as I have really learned over time, and I've observed and I see things differently now, I can see that when she was like 5 or 6 years old, and I was a single mom for a while, I had a lot of guys calling me, and so I would tell her to have the person, to tell the person that I wasn't available. I had her pick up the phone, say hello, and they'd ask for me, and she'd say, no, she's not here now, or she's in the shower, or something. I mean, if I wanted to go into shame and guilt, I could do that, and I did for a while, but I got over that because I was in what I call innocent ignorance. You have probably been in innocent ignorance more than once in your life. You didn't know what you didn't know. Problem is, today, you're not going to be able to say that anymore because you now know what you thought you didn't know, because I'm revealing and opening up some introspective thought processes for you to look at so you can become more aware. The work about really having an amazing relationship is awareness. You must have awareness. You must have awareness about who you are, how you be, how you respond in life, what kind of programs you have running from your childhood and all those other things. And the more you are educated about yourself, the more you will understand humankind. I have spent my entire life learning about the human condition. I really feel like I've become an expert in the human condition. I really get how the personality, the ego, whatever word you want to use, really works. And I want you to know that there are also many different kinds of relationships that you can learn this with. So we have the relationship, of course, with our partner, which I've been speaking a lot about. We have the relationship with our body. It's a huge piece. So much of our extra weight, so much of our extra anxieties, so much of our inability to function in a healthy way in life is because we're not connected enough to our body, or our body has become the garbage pail for our emotions. I've worked with a lot of people that have weight issues, and 99.99999% of them have emotional issues. They're stuffing things. They're trying to stay protected, so they put on things. Or women who have been abused, they many times will hold extra weight on themselves because they want to be sure that they are not too attractive, because then they're going to attract men to them. I mean, it's a real double bind, but then they're depressed because they don't have a partner. So it's really an important thing for us to realize that it's the partner, it's the body. What about your money? What about relationship with your money? Do you like money? Do you feel like it's the root of all evil, as they say? Where are you at with that? And what about with your pets? Are they your life savior? Do you allow them to nurture you? And what about your relationship with your boss, your children, your family? What about the environment? There are so many aspects of life that we usually don't think about, yet every one of them gives us the opportunity for relationship building, relationship connection, relationship understanding. Because when one gets in harmony, we can move them all into harmony. And if one's out of sync, the others will start to feel the effects of that. That's why the bigger picture of relationship is also very important. But primarily today I'm speaking about partner relationship. Okay, so here's the second key secret or point here. It's all about you. Now, I've alluded to this as I've been speaking all along, but this is a really important piece for you to really take home today. I want you to really remember this. Everything that's going on in your life is happening because of something that's going on inside of you. Now, what that means is that something may be happening that you don't seemingly have any control over. Like, I'm not saying you have control over the sun rising or setting or an earthquake or a hurricane. But what I am saying is what you have the power to do is determine how you will be with that circumstance. If your relationship is not the way you would like it to be, then it's a very important piece for you to look at how you're looking at that. How are you perceiving it? How are you framing what's going on? Because your framing, your perception, is going to completely dominate your happy, sad, mad, or glad. When something happens, are you a victim and feel like you just can't even bear it? Or are you able to look at certain things and say, wow, what's great about this that I haven't seen yet? And what is a different viewpoint that I could have about this? See, the mindset is really critical when it comes to relationships. And the deeper we go into understanding that, the more powerful we are able to be in all the circumstances of our life. So when I say it's all about you, that's where your power lies. Your power lies within your ability to frame it, to think about it, to perceive it in a certain way. Now, does that mean that if somebody is abusive or something like that, that you should just say, oh, what's great about this that I haven't seen yet? That isn't what I'm saying exactly. I am suggesting that you see it from a different viewpoint, but that's not what I'm saying is that you should stand in front of an oncoming truck or things of that nature. We get into some deeper things around that. But what is important is that you recognize, you start to just gently bring the focus back into yourself. So you start to recognize that what's going on is going on because of something that you want to take away from the circumstances. What is it that you want to learn? In fact, one of the things that I used to say a lot to myself, and I just recently thought of this, is that's what I learned from that. What did I get from that? Rather than just feel blown over by it, it's like, okay, what did I get from that? Because if I really look at it, then and I get what it is that I'm there to get, then I have the ability to not repeat it. And that's really helpful. Because have you noticed that if you don't do something different, you just keep repeating it? And I'll probably say this again, That's called insanity. That's why you're here today. I'm really clear that it's no accident that we are here together. I'm really clear that there's something that you are really desiring to shift within yourself and in some area of your life. And because of that, being very attentive and really taking in the things that I'm saying are going to give you options and opportunities to really shift things. Really shift things. So here's something else. One of my personal favorites, especially when I was younger. Have you ever kind of like tried to mold yourself so you could get people to like you? Or like love you? And have you ever been in a relationship where you did things that you really didn't want to do, but you did them anyway because you were afraid of the repercussions, you were afraid of being abandoned, or they would leave, or they would hit you, or they would yell at you, or whatever? Do you know that almost all relationships have some varying degree of that? It's a very big thing. What happens is we lose our center. So while we're speaking about it's all about you, it's important that there is an understanding within yourself that you must be in a place of authenticity. You have to be you. You have to be real. Because if you do not, your relationship will whittle down. I have coached so many, literally thousands of couples and individuals that have gone through pretty much the same kinds of things. The term that many use is, I gave my power away. I didn't know how to speak up to her or to him. I didn't know what to do when they really wanted me to do this, and I really care about them, so I felt like I should sell out, and I did. And now I'm really angry about it, and I don't know what to do, and I'm blaming them, and I'm resentful. And all of those things build the wall up until soon the relationship just starts to go down in a spiral that sometimes is not repairable. We can't get it back. So when I speak about it's all about you, it's about loving self. It's about taking care of you and letting the caring and the love within yourself be so huge that the love you share with your partner is an overflow. It is not about taking an empty bank account and trying to give money, so to speak, an empty love account and trying to give it to someone else. When there's nothing there, how can you give it away? And if you aren't caring for yourself, if you're not nurturing yourself, if you're not respectful of yourself, if you're not taking care of your body, your mind, your spirit, and all the parts of you, you're not going to have anything internally that's going to allow you to really experience true love in the relationship, because you're going to always be wanting to get something or modify or transfer something inside of here so you can get somebody else to be the way that you hope they will be. In other words, you hope that they'll love you if you do it differently. Sometimes people just are not on the same page, and there's nothing wrong with that. But most of the time, it's because the safety factor isn't there, which I'm going to speak about in a few minutes. And the communication, which is what I'm going to speak about next, they're just not there. They're not connected. Therefore, you don't have any kind of connection point with each other because you do not have enough of your own self-respect, self-love, and you're dealing with guilt and shame and all of those kinds of things. I mean, like I said, been there, done that. I'm in full confession. I walked on hot coals for most of my life in relationships. Somehow, I was one of those people that decided to use relationship as my key to awareness, key to awakening, to, enlightenment, or whatever it would be, joy, success. The bottom line was, I've learned a lot. And I've learned a lot in ways that I hope more than anything that I can shortcut your learning curve by sharing some of these things with you, because I didn't have anybody that shared this with me. I didn't have anyone that helped me know the things that I now know. And therefore, I now know that taking care of me first is the most critical thing that I can possibly do, no matter how scary it is or how unlikely it would have been for me in the past. It's what it is. So I'm asking you, how well do you take care of yourself? How often do you tell 100% of the truth? To yourself, even. How often do you nurture yourself? How often do you take on other people's stuff and beat yourself up with it? How often do you shut down and let your heart cry? These are just some of the things that I know that I went through. It was really hard. It was really hard. And it's also what I have been through with so many other people. And when you move through that, the joy and the empowerment and the ecstasy that you feel is phenomenal. You really find, and maybe you're there, but I wasn't. And as I've gotten there, I'm still paying attention, and I'm still staying present with myself. Because if I'm not present with myself, I can't be present for my partner. So how present are you? How present are you with each other? These are key principles that are really important. These are things that I go into great depth with when I'm working with people, because they are the foundation for the empowerment, for the clarity, for the nurturing, and for the love that is so full inside of you that you want to just give it away on a continuous basis. It's all about you. Now, the third is one of my personal favorites, because I find that virtually every single person that I have an interaction with, and I have interactions with my coaching, my mentoring, in my retreats, in my seminars, everything it's all about communication. See, safety is actually the number one key to people not having relationships work so well. But right up there with it, and because of it, or interactively connected to it, is communication. When somebody doesn't feel safe, they have not been communicating with each other in a way that allows the person to better understand and know what's going on. I had a coaching call the other day with someone who was saying, well, I would have been okay with that, but I didn't know it. It wasn't communicated to me. So I'm sitting here in the dark, and I guess things, and I make up stories. Have you ever done that? I've really done that a lot in the past. I tell you what I used to do is, and I'm still pretty expert at this if I lose my center, and that is, I can take something this small, and I can make it this big. You know, it's like I am a macro builder-upper spando person. Have you ever taken a pebble and made it into a mountain? Have you ever been a drama king or a drama queen? Have you ever absolutized things? You never do this. You never take out the trash. You always do this. Have you picked up that sometimes you use those absoluting words? Well, the absolute words is really drawing a line in the sand. And when you draw a line in the sand, you cut off the possibility that you're ever going to have resolution. Because what you're telling the universe is, there's no chance this can work. So if there's no chance this can work, then why bother giving her any ideas? So watch that piece there. Watch when you use words that are very definitive and absolutizing, because that is not an effective way to communicate. Communication means that you're with somebody, and I want to tell you, this is really, really possible. Everything that I'm speaking about here today, all these different aspects, all about you and all of this stuff, all of this is so perfect, even if you're not there yet, because it is very, very possible, and it will occur for you if you know what to do. You just need to know what the tools are. You need to know what the principles are. You need to know how to really make that shift inside of you. That's what I love doing, is helping people know what to do next. and know how to take their life and create it. Sometimes I call it the new you. It's like creating the new you, the new relationship. That's what's awesome about this. So you have every piece of clarity that it takes, and you have the plan, and you have the impetus to move forward, and you have the motivation. And you're not just going blindly, but you actually know how to get these things handled in a way that give you the results that you're looking for. That's the piece that I really love about this. So when we talk about communication, we talk about learning how to communicate effectively and cleanly and openly. And that safety factor is going to be really important. So safety comes not just from proper or really good communication, it comes from consistency. Now think about that for a minute. If a person is a certain way every day for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30 days, then that's what you expect from them. And then if they're this certain way, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but well, let's just say they're really loving and kind for like a week or 10 days or something like that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere seemingly, boom, you get something that hits you and you go, what the heck? Where did that come from? I don't even know what I did. And the person is raining all over you. Well, then all of a sudden the next day, really kind, really loving, really good. Going on, you're just feeling just like, oh my God, I just love this relationship, it's so awesome. And then all of a sudden, boom, like Jekyll and Hyde, it comes at you again. Do you think you're going to feel safe? I deal with many people with this situation. And sometimes it's not like so pronounced. Sometimes it's done through passive-aggressive behavior. Have you ever been with somebody who seemingly makes a joke, but it's a cut and you feel it in your gut and your heart is crying and you don't even know why you feel so bad, except you feel bad because the energy behind their words, it wasn't even the words, it was the energy behind the words, it hurts? Well, this is something else that's very common, because when somebody's angry and they don't know how to effectively deal with their emotions and don't know how to manage their emotions, what do? They're like a pressure cooker, and they blow up, and steam will hit who's ever nearby. And that steam burns, and it hurts, and it can create scars. And I know, because of literally so many people I've worked with, that this happens very, very often, and it's many times the demise of so many relationships. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. When two people are willing to work on something together, then all bets are off, and everything flows, and the answers come, and the resilience reoccurs, and you reignite that perfect relationship. But you have to have awareness. You both have to have a willingness and be on the same page for what it is that you want. So I talk about how to get each other on the same page in the work that I do. So when you're communicating, you want to always remember that it's not about them. So when you're communicating, you give up the word you. We're back to it's all about me. So you use the word I. When such and such occurs, I feel whatever it is that you feel. I feel hurt, I feel uncomfortable, I feel frightened, I feel angry, whatever it is. Because when you are speaking that truth, then what occurs is that you are not only verbalizing and releasing the energy, but the other person has an opportunity to feel safe enough to speak what's on their mind. And when you're communicating about these things, the other person doesn't interrupt. You don't interrupt. When somebody's sharing their heart and things that are scary for them to speak about, you zip it and you let them explain, share, whatever the word is. Now, one of the key things that people like to do, understandably, because this is called humanism, is they want to make excuses, justify, whatever it may be. And sometimes the party that is listening will then bring up everything about the other person that was really crummy. or they did wrong, or whatever. So that's what happens. It becomes a counterattack. So it's a he said, she said, attack back. You get into a survival, and nothing gets resolved. That's why having a coach or a mentor or someone that can help you really keep, I don't know why I'm going to say this, the garage clean. You know, you just want to keep the communication clean and effective, so the other person is not feeling attacked, because there is no one person who's at fault. No, remember that even if it looks like your partner, guess who is in charge of how they deal with it? Guess who's in charge of looking inside and seeing why they would have somebody repeatedly doing something that you didn't think you wanted them to do? So you can see that the work that we do here is very different. This is not like we're just going to get that, let's take her out to dinner every Friday night, let's send flowers, okay, we're going to buy him a new lawnmower or, a basketball or something and try to, shroud over. No, we're talking about permanent, pure results. We're talking about things that shift you as an individual, so you as an individual can share as a collective with someone else by the overflow of who you really are. And that is incredible for your personal relationships, but also all of the other relationships that I've already been speaking about today. So here is something that's really important about communication, and I could speak for another hour on this piece. And when I do retreats and things of that nature, I do. It's about listening. Listening is really critical. It's very, very important. And it's not just because you want to figure out what they're really saying. It's because it shows respect. Respect comes across as caring. Caring comes across as loving. When a person feels loved, they will open up their heart much more readily. They will be much more forgiving. They will perceive things from a completely different perspective than they will if they feel attacked or unheard or unimportant. So being a really good listener means that you are actively feeding back to them what it is that you feel like you heard from them. That tells them that you are present with them. Being present with them is another way to help somebody feel really loved and acknowledged. So you're feeding that back to them. The other thing that you do is, which I shared a little earlier, was that when you are sharing, you're always staying over here inside yourself. That's really important. The other thing about listening is to allow yourself to zip it when you have judgments. You're not there to give them your feedback about how you're going to fix them or make it all better. Listening means listening. It doesn't mean talking. Listen 100 times, ponder 1,000 times, and speak once. So when you're communicating with someone, you want to create safety. And one of the other ways that you can do that is by saying something positive. Say, I'm so appreciative of you being here with me and we being able to have this conversation. I really love the fact that we're really working together to get on the same page. That, when a person feels acknowledged, it goes back to that same thing that I was speaking about. We feel acknowledged. We feel like somebody cares. We feel loved. And I will tell you, the core principle of human nature is, I want to be loved. I want to love and I want to be loved. I want to know that I'm lovable. You have the ability to help people feel loved and lovable all day long. All day long. And if you took your focus off of your own survival and your own personal issues, and you looked at things from a bigger viewpoint, then your heart would grow, your inner safety would grow, your communication skills would go off the charts, and you would find that every area of your life would become embellished with greatness, with empowerment, with joy, with successes. Every area. It can't not happen, because that's the way it works on this planet. This universe is amazingly cooperative to whatever it is that we are desiring to have happen. There is a saying that I like and I use. Okay, now for the good part. This is the part that I love speaking about. We've been chatting together for quite a few minutes here, and I've shared with you a lot of my own personal experience. I've been very transparent. I've given you some tools and some skill sets for you to develop, and hopefully a tremendous amount of understanding about how we work as individuals and how we sometimes will work, not always to our best interest, in relationships. Well, Raphael and I have been working on this for a very, very long time. And because of that, this is very near and dear to my heart. Why? Because I've spent virtually all of my life being in and out of relationships and working so long with Raphael, who is on the same page. I mean, we have the same goal. We really want to make this work. We're committed to the love first. And that's a really important piece there. You have to be committed to the love first. And because of these things, I've put together like this, what I'll call a little wisdom package. All of the experience and all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom. And I have a 3-day retreat for you that I'm going to share this in great depth. Let me tell you that all the things that we've spoken about today, we're going to go 10 times deeper than that. You're going to know yourself at a level that you will be shocked and amazed in a really awesome way. Because when you have knowledge, when you have understanding, when you have those things to help you not be so confused, that clarity creates empowerment. And when you have the empowerment, then what happens is you have the courage to step up and face yourself and face others and really make the changes that you truly desire. So when you attend this retreat, you are going to experience things that perhaps, most likely, you have never experienced before. You're going to suddenly be able to see into whom it is that you really are. You're going to be able to see how you be with yourself and how you be with other people. You're going to see what happens in your relationship, and you're going to have an awareness and the ability to observe very profoundly. And why is that? Because the things that I do, the retreats that I hold, are not like the things that you're used to. It's not like I'm just going to give you a list of things to do. No, this is about self-discovery. This is about depth, as I said a moment ago. This is about recognizing that you are the PowerPoint. You have the ability to make a difference. You will come out of this looking clearly into the mirror of you, and you will know how to love you and how to be with you and how to be with your partner in a different way. So this experience, it's very experiential, will bring you to a place of really understanding and knowing about energy. You're going to learn, because you know, I'm sure, that everything's energy. We know that we use an EKG to check the energy of the heart, the electromagnetics. We do EEGs for the brain understanding and the electromagnetics of that. And these all give us understanding. So if we're on the same page that everything's energy, I'm going to help you learn more clearly and in greater depth how energy actually works in your relationships. When you have that key piece really understood, then what occurs is you are able to be different with yourself and with others. So the energy is a really big thing. Now, yes, those tips, those tools, those skill sets beyond what you could dream or imagine are going to be there. So we're using the left brain, yes, but we're also bringing in the right brain, meaning that we're going to integrate both sides of the brain so you're able to see not just one little pathway, but the whole macro view, the big picture of what it is that's really happening inside of you, your relationship, and you're going to know what to do about it. You're going to walk away with a plan of action that is very succinct and very individualized for you, your circumstances. What's important to you is what we will work on. You will have that individual work to know what you need to do specifically. It might not be for anybody else in there, but you're going to find what you need. And when you take home this plan of action, that's where you follow through to find and experience permanent change. Permanent change has the ability to occur, boom, in those 3 days. Yes, absolutely. But in my experience, and in most people's experience, it takes some follow-through. So there's something that's very special about this plan of action, because you won't just have a whole bunch of information and not know what to do. You'll have a plan of action and you will know exactly what to do. The other thing that makes this very different is that it's out-of-the-box thinking. It's showing you a perspective, a framework of the way you be with yourself, with others, with your environment. It's very unique. And in that uniqueness, you will have a better understanding about how to have all of your relationships be harmonious. That's really awesome. Because having one relationship work, that's really great. Having two, that's really great. But what would happen if you had all of them working, that you were actually in the flow of your own life and it was working? Are you ready for that? Are you ready to have it all? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get that? Because it is going to take you and I working together to really have you get the basic foundational pieces that you will be able to take and move over into your life in a way that will be quite amazing. And don't forget, the communication piece is going to move past just the words that you use. It's going to be in a place where you learn how to read body language in a way that perhaps you weren't paying attention to when you were communicating with people. And as I said earlier, the listening skills are critical. So I want to give you a little example of someone. Valerie and her husband, they were having some real difficulty. They were thinking very seriously of splitting up. They weren't speaking hardly at all. They couldn't be without at each other. And they both finally agreed to come to the retreat. Not too close together throughout the retreat, but throughout the weekend, what happened is they started putting their focus on themselves. They started seeing things differently within them, which allowed them to put on glasses that allowed them to see more clearly what was happening over there. So there was an amazing shift for both of them to be able to come together in a way that they had safety. They actually were able to speak to each other in a way that they could listen. They were hearing what the other person was saying. They weren't jumping down each other's throat. It was magnificent to see the healing that occurred there. And then they purchased a program that they could take home with them and follow through. And I will tell you, it's a significant, empowering, exciting thing to see the two of them together working like I've never seen before. It was quite remarkable. That's the kind of thing that happens. That's not even unusual. That kind of thing absolutely occurs. So it doesn't matter whether your partner will come or not, you come. It doesn't matter if you are the person who is looking for a brand new relationship or not, you come anyway. And you are going to have the ability to reignite a relationship that's maybe not in disaster zone, but it's just kind of boring, you know? Would you like a better sex life? Would you like to have more open communication? Would you like to have a safety and an intimacy and a trust that very few people really have? This is what we're talking about. And how does this occur? 3 amazing, powerful, life-transforming days. What does it cost? 3 days, $599. Really? Really? $599 is all it's going to take, and you know what? If you bring your partner or a friend, or it doesn't matter who it is, they will receive 25% off as well. And for those of you that are the quick starter type, and I encourage you to be what I'm about to tell you, you're going to receive, if you sign up by clicking the link below, in the next 24 hours, you are going to receive my relationship reboot system. It costs $399, and you will receive it for free. It's perfect prep work for before you come to the retreat. The Relationship Mastery Retreat is going to be something that will make a significant difference in every single area of your life. I know I keep saying that, but it's like, it's really, really so. So this relationship reboot system, that is the one that Valerie and her husband actually had and took home for themselves so they could continue to work on their relationship. So if you sign up in the next 24 hours, we'll send that to you straight away, and you can get a head start before you even get to the retreat. Now, you might be thinking, what if it doesn't work for me? And, those are different people. Get over it. That's not applicable to you. And here's why. You don't have to worry about that, because there's 100% money-back guarantee. If you come and you really stay focused with me and you participate throughout the entire 3 days, and at the end you can honestly sit there and say, you know what? This didn't do anything for me. This was like a waste of my time, or whatever it is. We will give your money, your tuition for the retreat back to you. No questions asked. That's how sure I am. That's how I know. We have never, ever had anybody ask for any money to be returned, because everyone creates for themselves a shift. I'm not doing it for you. You're the powerhouse. I'm going to give you some guidance and some ideas, and you will be amazed at how they flow through you very easily. So think about it. You're going to come for 3 days. You're going to pay a mere $5.99. Your partner or another person that you choose to bring is going to have 25% off. You click the link below. In the next 24 hours, you sign up. You're going to receive a relationship reboot system that is made up of 3 amazing programs that Raphael and I did. And throughout that program, you're going to learn a tremendous amount, including about connection in the bedroom, how to create a relationship or reignite a relationship, and something called Relationships and Beyond, which is really very empowering. It's a much bigger viewpoint about relationships. It's worth the whole thing from my viewpoint, because I love that program. Click the link below, and remember that this is the time for you to change your life. You're still with me right now. You know what that means, don't you? You know that if you come to this retreat, you know your life is going to change in a really awesome way. You know the timing is right for you. And your partner chooses to come, it's very awesome, because when you both get on the same page at the same time, it's terrific. But even if that doesn't occur, you come, because it's about you making a change inside yourself. So I could go on, but I'm going to leave you with the question of, are you ready to change what it is that you know is going to make a difference and give you freedom from some of the pain or the discomfort or the agony, perhaps, that you've been living? Now is the time. This is the answer. Click the link below. I can't wait to meet you. It's called Relationship Mastery Retreat.